Hello everyone, thank you once again for joining me. So on the series that I've started a couple of days ago, which is on Oracle security landscape, I had a first video that laid out the landscape across OCI, across database, across functional applications and some other services that are security related. Then the second video laid or is a project based demonstration that shows how to create and how to use a landing zone. A landing zone is a is a collection of services and a network configuration that other things, a secure one at that other workload and provisions can securely, sit within, subsequently within your environment. So this third video will take me to the second project that I called Hub and Spoke Network Security. Uh, so what I am building here is a hub and spoke VCN topology where all internet bound and cross VCN traffic from workloads is inspected before it exits or enters the network. The hub VCN host shares security services. The DMZ subnet holds the load balancer and the WAF. Then the firewall subnet holds the network firewall. The spoke VCN hosts workloads but has no internet gateway. Everything routes through the hub via dynamic routing gateway. Three network security groups enforce micro-segmentation at the instance level. OCI Bastion provide time-limited audited SSH access without a persistent jump host. So that is what I want to build here. In plain English, I'm setting up a secure network that has two VCN. One is for public and one is for public workload and one is for private workload. The spoke is always for the private, where you can keep database and applications that route traffic within, your Oracle network. Then the hub is like the exit room through which, like internet traffic comes in and even leave to the internet. So those are the things and some other things that come around it. I have some caveat, maybe one or two services that I might not be able to create, here, but I will call it out when I get it. So let's get to that. So the first thing I want to do is to create VCN, so if I go to networks, I go here and I say networks. So I go to virtual cloud network and depending on where I want to create this. So I have this, so let's assume I want to create in that compartment. I come down here and I will create something I want to call network. So this is security. Maybe I should be in, stay here. I'll call it, let me call it network VCN. And okay, sorry, it should be in network. Okay, yes, network compartment. Then I will call it hub. So let me call this hub. Okay, so it's a hub. Then the other thing I would like to do is the CIDR block. So I will make sure I will use something like 10.0.0.0/16. Add the list. Then the next thing I would like to do is to label it hub. So we just say hub here, just for me to know that its hub is not spoke. Leave the DNS name, just leave it the way it is, and I will say create. Okay, I think I've exceeded my limit. One sec. Let me give it a shot. So create. Yeah. So I have this hub VCN created now. So the next thing I want to do is to create some subnet within this hub. So I'll go to subnet here. And the first subnet I want to create is DMZ subnet. So let me just quickly get my data here. I will say create subnet. And then call it hub DMZ. So do, and I will have my CIDR block here, version 4. Put it here, and we say route table. Because this is a hub, then it should be public. So it should be public. So I will leave that as public. Then I will have my label to be DMZ. See, I can see the DNS name now, complete DNS name there. And when that is done, I will go and say create. So I have that subnet. Then I will create another subnet. Let me refresh and let's see what we got. I think I've said it multiple times, or maybe 1 or 2 times, that when you create a particular item in Oracle OCI, one of the things you could do just to be sure that it's created is to refresh. Okay, so now I will create another one, and this subnet now I will call it Firewall. So I'll call it Firewall subnet. Okay. And it's going to be within the same compartment. And yes, so let me put in the IP range. There's the IP range. And this time around, do I have label I want to give it? Let me give it a label of firewall. That is FW, and that should be fine. So I've created 2 subnet under the VCN, the hub VCN. So that is that. Remember that I said that the hub is supposed to be like a central, like the hub, like the name implies, it's supposed to be like the central connection through which others can communicate. So that is done for the subnet. Then the other thing I want to do is to create hub gateways. So here I'm just going to, I'm supposed to create internet gateway, NAT gateway, and service gateway. So let me just explain them. So Oracle Service Gateway is a gateway that allows you to, so here that allows you to, that when you configure it, it allows communication within, or let me say between Oracle services within Oracle network. So that shows that if that traffic is made for maybe 1 or 2 services within that network, it doesn't have to transverse the internet anymore. It just have to do that within its network. But if it's not is that allows your infrastructure, your workload to be able to access the internet based on some rules, you know, if there is need be. But internet gateway allows traffic from outside to what? To, that is ingress, to get into the network. So the first thing I want to do here that I'll be able to do is to create the internet gateway. So I will call my internet gateway this. So I'll go to gateways here. So if you get here, you will see that there is create dynamic routing gateway. Attachment. That is not a gateway, it's an attachment. But you can see the first gateway is internet gateway. You can see NAT gateway. You can see service gateway. You can see local PM. So they all have, like I was explaining, they all have their roles to play. But the ones I want to create here today, just to show us how to create any gateway here, is to just get here and give it a name. So within the same network, let me look at the advanced default route table. So it will pick that itself. So there is nothing that much here there. I can just go ahead and create. So if you go down, if you refresh, let me refresh. Sometimes it takes some time. You can see that internet gateway is what is created. So I'm supposed to create, NAT and what have you, but just so for this purpose of this demonstration, I just have the opportunity to create only NAT gateway. But it's the same process for you to create the rest of them. Okay. So I want to get to route tables now. So the first thing I want to do is to get to my VCN. So once again, let me go back to VCN and go to the hub. So the only one we've created here is the hub. Okay. So now that we are in the hub VCN, then let me create the route tables. So let me get to route tables. If we go to routing here, so we're able to see create route tables. So the first route table I'm going to create here is going to be so let me call it DMZ route table, and now I will be adding some rules. So let me add a rule here. So I'm going to call this rule an internet gateway rule, and the block is going to, of IP is going to be 0.0.0.0/0. So that is to have access to the wide world, to the internet. And now let me look at you can see the internet gateway we created is here. So if you want to give it some descriptions, which I might be able to do, is I can give it let me say maybe IGW outside. So I can give it anything as long as it reflects what you want. So now when that is done, I can go here and say create. So that route table is created. So now that we have a routing table that is with the right rule set, so I can change now, go back to my DMZ subnet here and go to edit, say edit or actions edit. Then I can change the routing table now, the route table to the DMZ, because originally it was using default route table, right? But now we have a route table that is applicable to the network we want to build, and I can change it to there and say save. So that is how to create that and attach the right route table to the right subnet. Then let me go to the other. So if you look at here, so I'm creating the firewall route table. So let me just because I mentioned that I'll be calling out some of the things that I think can have some deviation from what it should be in some of your working environment, is that when you are creating a firewall, route table, it's supposed to go to NAT gateway, and you have your IP address, and the NAT gateway you created earlier should be here. You should be able to choose it here. Now, if you are creating a service gateway, then the same thing applies. But you remember at the beginning of this video, I only created a internet gateway. So just note that when you are dealing, or maybe you are doing this in your environment, just make sure that you are actually using your own gateway, which can either be service gateway or NAT gateway. Okay. So, but for this purpose, for the demonstration purpose, I'm going to use this gateway. I'm going to put the IP address here. My internet gateway is already selected, and I will move forward and say create. So now, if you look at this, I have a DMZ gateway, but if I refresh, I should have route table. But if I refresh, I should be able to have two route tables there. Let's see. So I have two that I created myself, and there is one that is default that automatically get created, so making it 3. But at least I created 2. Okay, so that is that for now. Let's edit the firewall subnet now. So let me get back a bit. Let me go back here, subnet, and here this is the firewall subnet. And if I go down here and I say edit, then because you can see that it was using the default route table before, but now I can use the firewall route table, save it. We are good. So the firewall subnet you have no internet if I use NAT gateway or service gateway. But so just so you know. Okay, so let me go to the spoke VCN now. So if you look at what we have done so far, or what I've done so far, is that I have dealt with everything that I needed to do when it comes to hub VCN, because hub is the central through which communication is dispatched. But now I want to create spoke, and for every hub network we have, Oracle allows you to connect 300 spoke to it. So that means that in your entire organization you might only have one hub, and you may have multiple spoke. So now we've done that of hub, which is a central station. Then I want to move to spoke. So the first thing I will do here is to go back a bit. This is VCN. I have over here. I will create another one, and this one now I'm going to call it spoke VCN. So spoke VCN. So I'm going to just give it that name, and my IP block I can make do with 0. Yes. Let me do 1.0.0/16. Okay, got that. And maybe I can do a label here. Call it spoke. Another thing, I can leave it as it were and say create. So I have that created. So if I go back to VCN, I should have two now. So you can see I have both spoke and hub. So what do I do next after the spoke is created? So the next thing is for me to add some subnet. So let me go to spoke and let me go to subnets, and I'm going to call this create one as app subnet. So if I go down here and I say app subnet, the same network regional, nothing, and my cider block should be 10.1.0.0/24, and then the route table. Okay, then I can do, because this spoke now, this should be private, right? Because this is spoke. So here I'm going to do private subnet access, and I'm going to find a label which I will just call app. And what other thing do I need to do again? Okay, so I think that is all. So it's okay. So I think that is all I need to do here. So I can create that. So if I'm able to refresh, I should be able to see what I've just created. Okay, so I can create another one. I want to create another one. This time around, I want to call this one DB. That shows that this is the subnet I want my databases to be housed. It should be regional. My block of IP should be 10.1.1.0/24. Okay, and we don't have routing table, so it has to be private as well. And this time around, my label could be DB. Okay, so what other thing do I have here? Nothing. Okay, so I can go ahead and create this. So now, so far, I have created both hub and spoke VCN. I've created the two, and in the hub, I've created the route tables. So let me see what I need to do next here when it comes to that of. So I think it's time for me to attach, like create a dynamic routing, gateway, and create a attachment for both VCNs. So let's do that. Okay, so let me go to networking. From there, let's networking here. Go to customer connectivity, and under this place I can see dynamic routing gateway. So then I can say create dynamic routing gateway. So I will call it DRG. So let's just give it that name. Okay, and there is nothing to add here. Let's go ahead and create. And now after, it takes some time. Okay, I think it's available now. Let me refresh. Now, what is the job of this dynamic routing gateway? Like I said earlier, it's to establish communication between the hub and the spoke. So now that we are here, you can attach, VCN. You can create some routing tables. You can create tags as well. But what I want to do here is to attach VCN. So now to attach VCN, we have to provide it a name. Okay, so let me do create virtual cloud network. So attachment name. So attachment name is it should be hub attach, so that it can reflect what exactly it's doing. Then virtual edition should be hub here, and no, I will not be, I will not be creating a routing table for now. I will just leave that the way they are and just say create. Then I will create the second one. I will call it spoke attach, So I'll just say spoke attach, and I will make sure it's spoke here, and every other thing is good. I will create that attachment. So what have I done? What I've done is that I have been able to create a communication bridge between the whole hub and the spoke VCNs. So that is what the dynamic routing gateway does for me here. Okay, So while that is done now, then I can begin to create routing tables for them. So I'm going to create a spoke routing table. Yes, spoke routing table. So let me do that. So when I go to spoke, one sec back. So here I can go to routing and say create DRG route table. You can see all these ones, the default ones that are auto-generated, but these are the ones that I will create myself. So this for spoke. That's why I named them in such a way that and the destination is 10 point, oh no, 0.0.0.0/0. Okay, so and so uh so to create the routing table, I want to create one which is for spoke routing table. So here this is the IP 0.0.0.0/0. Then the virtual, you make the next hop attachment type is virtual cloud network, and then I choose a spoke attachment here because it's for spoke. Then I can create that. So I have an error that says just a sec. So I think for one of the things I see, these are the attachments. Let me go back a bit so that we know where we're coming from. And I want to, so now I want to create a route table. I already have like 2 route tables here, and I think I can just come here and click on this one. And because the same route table, right? The only thing is that you want to add some rules. So that is the only thing that makes the difference. So I want to add status rule, and my rule is going to take this IP range 0, then it's going to be virtual network type, and it's going to be for spoke attachment. So we add rule, and that solved our problem. So now we have a rule for our attachment. That is our DRG attachment. So one of the things I would like to do is to go back to our, let me go back to my subnet before we move further. Okay. Subnet. So I go for this, I go for subnet here, and I look for the DB subnet. Then now I can change. Let me see if I can just make an edit here. Then, when I created this, I mentioned that I will leave the routing table as default. But now that I have another routing table, I should be able to get it done here. So I want to make some things clear here. So if you are running a free version, which is a trial version of Oracle OCI, you might not be able to create more than 2 routing table or route table within your dynamic routing gateway. So what I will advise you to do is that you have to be very, if you are running a full version, you don't have any problem with this. But when you come to here and you want to create this, you can create that. But if you don't have that, like I do, then you can modify existing one. For instance, this is an existing route table. You can come here and say edit, and you can disable this. Enable import route distribution. Then here you can give it the name you want to give it, and you can save it. But for me, I think I have something that is usable here that we can just use. And this is under this, you can see I have routing. So I have 2 routing here. So one is auto-generated, but this one I modified it. And if you go to the attachment we created before now, we have attachment for both hub and spoke, but I needed a route table for the spoke. So now I come down here and I created one. This is it, spoke route table. And if you open it, you'll be able to see like static rules that I assign to this. The static rules. So here I can assign the static rule now. So here is 0.0.0.0/0. and I can say is cloud this, and I can say Yakala is good, and I can say it's for spoke, add the rule, and that is how, and the nuances, around creating a dynamic, routing gateway, and creating an attachment as well as creating route tables for those attachment. So that is that. So now we can go back to our VCN, and let me look at our spoke. Then we'll go to our subnet, and let me look at these. And here you see the route table we have. I want to change that to the new route table I just created. So say edit. It's not showing up here for one reason or the other. I don't know why it's not showing up here. It should show up here. Okay. So I know I have an error, so let me get back to the error. So if you go back here, just something you can pretty much get some ideas from. So if you get back here, when I created the two attachments here, everything was good, but I was trying to create a routing table here, so that was not a good plan here. So you don't create a routing table here that you will use in other, maybe in some other subnet. So rather, full disclosure, we have to go back here and go to virtual network, go to spoke, and go to routing and create a new routing table. So now, when I want to create a new routing table here, what I will do is to create a new routing table here. So I'm using a name for spoke routing table. Then that is good. Then I will say, I don't need to add anything here. I will just say create a routing table. Okay, let me add a rule. So here I will come and say dynamic routing gateway. Remember that the communication between spoke and hub should go through dynamic routing gateway. So here I will use 0.0.0.0/0. That will be the setup block I will use. And if you come down here, you see that gateway I created in a dynamic environment, I have it here. So now I can go ahead and say create this. So you can see that this is created, this route table is created. Then now I can move back and go to subnet and go to the spoke subnet, the app one, and go back, say edit. And I should be able to see here, you can see that I'm able to see what I wasn't able to see before. I was able to see the spoke routing table here, or route table here, and that is updated. Then I can move back a bit, one step a bit, and go back to the app itself, subnet, and edit again. Then look for same route table and save it. So with that, I've completed creating a dynamic routing gateway, and I've created two attachments that will allow for communication between the hub and the spoke. Then the other thing I've done is to attach the routing table to the spoke subnet, to every subnet within the spoke VCN, so that it can make use of the DRG. So I think the last part on this work here is for me to create some security groups. So let me quickly do this. We are right here. I can go to security. Let me go back a bit. So here we have two subnets, and we are in a spoke. So we have this is the both hub and spoke. So let me start with hub, so that we can create so go to security, and remember what I'm creating security group. So go to network security group, and the first one I want to create here is just to give it a name that reflect what I want to do. That is web network security group, and yes, I'm not adding any rule yet, just want to create that. So that is created. Then I will move back a bit, one step backward, and just want to get to one step backward. I'll go to spoke, then I'll go to security again, and I will go to network down there, and I will create one for app, and one for DB. Okay, we'll go one step back. Let's spoke. Let me create another one. So I'll change this to DB. Okay, create this. So now if you look at these VCN, you will see that I have two network group here, security group here. So those are the one. Then the next thing I want to do is to begin to add rules. So let me go back to let me go back to hub, and let me go back to security. Then here I only have one. So what are the rules I want to add here? Go to security rules and go to add rules, and I'll be adding ingress. We do TCP, and source type I will do CIDR, and the CIDR range will be 0.0/0. Okay, so that is that. So it will be destination port will be 443. So destination 443. You know what I mean? That is secure HTTP. So description, I can just give it HTTP from the internet. So that is one. Then the other one I want to do is add another rule. It's also an ingress. Is TCP, and this time around it's also CIDR. So it's 0.0/0, and I have it's port 80 here. So it's port 80 here, and I can just put the description as HTTP load balancer redirect to HTTP. Then I want to add the third one, which is egress, and egress here, it should be destination should be CIDR, and should be same as 0, and I can just leave it at all protocols, and I will say add. So you can see I've added rules, like 3 rules to that particular network security group. Now what I will do is to go step back and step back again, because I want to go to the spoke. So under the spoke here, I'll go to security, and I will begin to, I have 2 already. I have 2 network security we created, and I want to add, so for the app, let me start with the app. So security rules, add security rules. So the first one I'm going to ask is ingress, and the protocol is TCP, the source type is network security group. So here is going to be that. Then if you look at it, it's going to be the one for app. You see that now. So, and description, I'm trying to feel if I can have a good description for it. Okay, yes. Okay, so protocol should be TCP. So, okay, so now I have that rule. So I can add another rule, which is egress. How does things go out? So destination type, it should be CIDR. Our protocols, we don't even need that. Our protocols is CIDR, then 0.0/0. So I have that, and there is no description. I don't have any description there, so I can add. So now this is the security rule for the spoke app subnet. So now let me go back 1 or 2 steps, because that is one thing about Oracle, you have to keep going back. We are still in spoke, but this time around we are going into DB and go to security, and we add security. Okay, so let's look at the one of the DB. I know we've created the one of the app. So go to the one of DB, say add rules. You can just say add rule. For the ingress, for the DB, protocol is TCP, source is network. So this is network security group, and this is for the DB. And for the destination port, it should be something 1521 to 1522. Yeah, so that is the ingress, and I can put some description just to let you know. Then here I can do 1521. So those are the, then I can do the egress as well. This time around is egress. Destination is CIDR is 0.0.0.0/0. Protocol is all protocols, and now I can say add. So now that is how to add the security rules there. So now the next thing I would like to do is to create a Bastion host. So I can go back to, so it's for us to go back to Bastion host. So if we go back to identity and security, you will see Bastion here, and I have one here before. It's deleted. I want to create another one. Now this time around, I'm going to call my Bastion security Bastion. Okay. Remember, allow characters. Things like Oracle doesn't like that my name. Okay, sec. So security Bastion. Then what network do I want to target here? Is it the spoke or is it the hub? So it's going to be spoke for definitely. And the target here, is it that I want a subnet of DB or a subnet of app? So it's going to be app. That's what I want. And for the CIDR, it's supposed to be for production environment. Make sure these point to your VPN. But for the purpose of these tests, I just want it to point to a particular IP address that represent like my VPN. Got that. Okay. So then the other thing is that I want Bastion to just be alive like for 3 days. So I'm going to change this to let me say hours, or let me say for 3 hours. That is going to, okay, so 3 hours. I just want that Bastion host to be useful for 3 hours, and then it will just shut down itself. So after that is done, then I will just go ahead and say create Bastion. So if there is anything within this project, maybe the concept or like theories you don't understand, basic information you don't understand, you can Google it, research about it. But the whole mission here is to take us through how to build stuff, the challenges, the interface, the way things are changing, how the dynamics that comes with it. For the fact that you read something from documentation, it's not as good, it doesn't depict that maybe you've done it, or maybe you've seen the challenges. And I believe that when you're able to go through a particular process from the console like this, you understand every bit of the functionality and features. That is when you can use infrastructure as code tooling, to model and to build the same stuff, and you understand what you actually build, and you can troubleshoot, you can debug it. So these are the reasons behind making this kind of video. It's not something that we cannot just pull up some IaC, and deploy it. But just for people that really want to learn every bit of this, yeah, it's very very important. So so I will move forward to creating WAF policy now. So folks, like I said, so I just want to show us that the other thing we can do here within our setting up a secure network is to set up a firewall. So, and it's very straightforward. So, but what I just want to say is that you will give it a name. You will kind of set some parameters within it. You can, after creation, you can do that. But I just want to show us that when you get your identity and access management, for instance, when you are here, I just want to move back a bit. Here, you can look for firewall, web application firewall, and you can say create a firewall. So you can give it the name you like. Maybe it's your web firewall policy 1, and you can decide which compartment you want that to be attached to. Then you can just always go down here and say create. So when you create, you can, irrespective of what you want, every other parameters you can add it to it. But the essence of this is that I just want to show us end to end what you can use. things you can do around creating a secure network. And if you can just go back a bit with me, what we have done here is to create a hub and spoke network security. And within that, we created a hub VCN. We created spoke. I explained that the hub is the central station that every other spoke kind of connects to. And for it to be able to work, you need to do some configurations, right? So, and those configurations, range from your subnet to how you create your gateways, how you create your attachment. We've done that. We created an attachment here. We created a dynamic routing gateway. We created attachment, and we ensure that the two can communicate. And we ensure that, yes, two can communicate. And we created the routing tables. So we created the routing tables. We created the network security groups. And I showed us how to create a Bastion host, and from there how to create a WAF here. So with this, I come to the end of this particular project, and thank you for staying around. See you on the next one.